At the front, a small, seemingly uncoordinated group of protesters was intent on fighting the police. Tonight, 10 people have been injured, 3 of them police officers.
And things turned nasty. There were 2 arrests for public order offences, but organisers say the actions of a few did nothing to detract from the main event.
When people feel angry with an issue or cause, there are all manners of ways in which they can express their dissatisfaction. Indeed, democracies thrive because people are entitled to show their disdain about a variety of issues that may affect their lives or the lives of those they feel sympathetic towards. Therefore, how far would you be prepared to go to make others aware of your discontent should you disagree with a particular viewpoint or policy?
I would try to draw together a group of people with similar mind, either by perhaps a letter in the newspaper or finding out about a meeting which was already about that issue.
Probably the most extreme I would go is to march.
Well, try and get in touch with my MP, yeah.
Have a petition to see if other people felt the same way.
Maybe use the internet, some sort of blog or campaign to tell people about it or share your view.
Speak to our local councillors, our local MPs, local assembly members, get them involved.
Write to my local press, my local TV and radio station.
I would protest. I would do it non-violently, personally.
Go to the local community, get a group of people, raise the issue, write to the MPs.
I'd probably just talk to people. I'm quite easygoing, yeah. To be honest with you, I would march if it was something I felt that strongly about. You know, try and take the bus pass off pensioners and I'd be down there marching.
First of all, I'd go and see my MP, write my MP. Failing that, I wouldn't stop going on a protest march. I think they're quite right to do it. You know, if you believe it, so they fight for it.
Protesting is, of course, a fundamental right in Britain. Indeed, peaceful protests can be a very powerful campaign tool, and many of the rights and freedoms we enjoy today were gained because people were prepared to go out on the streets and protest.
The UK has a long history of being able to protest and to speak our minds, that we all have our human rights, and we can gather with people who have the same interests and same views. We can hold banners in the street and we can project our views. And that's fine, and we have that right and we're able to do so. However, the concern is when those views go towards actions and when people are so fueled and so emotional and feel they've got to actually do something, that they want to take those actions to extremes and potentially cause harm to others.
In recent years, the government has introduced new criminal laws to deal with a range of threats, from terrorism to antisocial behaviour, and from animal extremism to stalking. While these problems are real and the government is entitled to protect the public, you can still protest if you feel strongly about an issue or a cause. However, there are some golden rules you should bear in mind. Rule 1. You have a right to assemble on the public highway, provided you do not completely block it off to other users and you act peacefully and without any threats of violence. However, the police can impose conditions, but only if they reasonably believe that the conditions are necessary to prevent serious public disorder, serious damage to property, or serious disruption to the life of the community. Rule 2. Your right to assemble is only on the public highway. If you assemble on private land without permission, you can be accused of trespass. Now, although this is not a criminal offence in itself, you can be sued for damages, or you can be asked to leave and be forcibly removed if you refuse. Also, if you trespass on land and you do something that is intended to intimidate, disrupt, or even obstruct someone engaged in a lawful activity, the police can arrest you if they reasonably suspect that you are committing what is called aggravated trespass. Rule 3. You are not allowed to harass people. Now, although harassment is not defined, it can include conduct that causes alarm or distress. For example, shouting of words or holding up placards can be harassment. In addition, if your intention is to persuade someone not to do something they are entitled to do, or indeed force them to do something they are entitled not to do, that can also be harassment.
Here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go! Many of the rights and freedoms that we enjoy today have come about through people exercising their right to protest. You have the right, along with others who feel the same as you, to express in public your view, passionately and emphatically, your beliefs. Others may disagree with you, but this is your chance to express your view. There is control, however. You can't incite people to violence. You can't obviously stir up racial hatred. And apart from all of that, the ordinary law of the land, the police will say there can't be too many of you and it can't go on too long, and we want you to take a route that doesn't bring you into direct conflict with people against whom you may have adverse views.
Racist people now, but racist.
In this country, there are views which may be illegal if they are expressed and cause offence to other people. Some of these views include racism. It may be views regarding homophobia. It may be views about people with disabilities or ageism nowadays. So there are a host of things that when we do express our views, we may enter into criminality and cause offence, and there are going to be consequences to exercising our freedom of expression if we go too far.
Some people find that voicing dissent or raising concern in a rational, peaceful manner is simply not enough for them. Indeed, such is their conviction for a particular cause, they often feel that their strong views need reflecting in a strong and forthright way. Indeed, some are even prepared to break the law to get their point across. Some, however, are prepared to go further and will hurt or kill others. Matthew Collins was someone who moved from a rational viewpoint to a more radical and extreme way of thinking. However, as Matthew found out himself the hard way, holding extreme views can sometimes quickly lead to committing extreme actions.
As a 15-year-old boy growing up in South London on a council estate, going to a very large comprehensive school, like most 15-year-old boys, I was probably not immune to violence, but I went from fights in the playground or fights at the school gates or little rumbles on the estate to entering pubs and clubs with baseball bats, pool cues, knives. I went from going to football with my friends to, where you would watch a game of football, to go into games of football where we didn't even go into the game, where we'd wait outside and attack other people. I went from being a 15-year-old boy on a Saturday who had a job on a market stall selling fruit to spending my weekend selling newspapers, getting involved in heavy drinking, and then the sort of violence that closes pubs for the weekend. I spent my time with people who, everywhere they went, attacked people because of their colour, because of their religion, because of their accent, because of what they wore. I spent my weekends trawling around London, and not just London, of course, all over this country, involved in violence. I watch now these films that glorify football hooligans, but those films come absolutely nowhere near to how desperately sad that is to live like that. How desperately, desperately sad. Every day, more violence. Every day, more hatred. Every day of your life.
Growing up is all about experimentation. Growing up is all about knowing yourself. If a young person wants to experiment with feelings and emotions and feel strongly about an issue, that is a time that could be ripe for exploitation.
Part of becoming an educated person and going through the education is that you learn to think about things, question things, and to raise critical thinking, really, so that you're an independent-minded person, and that's what we want. So it's not saying you can't talk about these ideas, you can't think about them, but you need to think about them critically, be open to other viewpoints, and listen to what other people are saying.
Extremism just breeds other extremism, and out of all the people I was involved with in the extreme right, 3 went on to murder people, 4 did very, very long-term prison sentences for violence. one committed suicide. I can't think of one of them who hasn't served a long-term prison sentence. And I can tell you about prison that it's not sitting around all day watching Sky television. It ain't like it says in the newspapers. And that is the loneliest low you'll ever get. But that's where eventually you end up. Extremists don't change the world. Smart people do.
So what do you understand about the legal ways to voice your concern regarding something you care deeply about? In what ways can you go about voicing your concern on a particular subject, issue or cause? What is legal and what is illegal with regard to getting yourself heard or noticed? And where would you go, or whom should you ask for advice so as not to break the law?